Hello, this is Julie. I'd like to show you today how to add cutting lines around a picture using the InView software. The first thing we need to do is import our picture. So I'm going to the File menu, Import an Image, and I'll browse to find a picture that I'd like to bring in. I'll use my Daisy image. And here you see I've got a picture, but when I go to wireframe, there's no cutting lines around the picture, and I really want the cutting lines instead of just a square printed picture. So what I need to do is create cutting lines. To do that in this software, I go up to the top menu bar. Second icon from the right is a blue vectorization icon, and I'll click that. Since I just want to create outside cutting lines around the picture, I'm going to click on Silhouette and click on Advanced. I'm going to move the brightness slider over until I don't see any of these little black dots outside the shape. It's okay if I see a little bit of the white inside. My goal is to see as much of the inside black without getting the black dots outside the shape. So I can move that slider accordingly. This looks, I think I'll move it a little bit more. You get it to about minus 107. I'm going to get rid of these dots in the next window, so that's not a problem. Click Next, and now I'm going to click Preview. And I see it's got some small objects that I want to remove. I'm going to move this slider all the way over to get rid of not only this black mark here, but also all of the little white things that were inside of the image. And now I'm going to click on Finish. Now I have the cutting lines that can go around the image, but I can't see too well because of the black color. So I'm going to go over to the color window over here on the right and left click on that red slash to get rid of the fill color. Now I can go to my magnifying glass and zoom in real close to see if I can line up the picture with the cutting lines a little bit better, because I just kind of place them when I wasn't zoomed out. It helps to zoom in, get those lines as close as you can. That looks pretty good. You can always edit those lines if you want to do more editing. What I usually do, because I'm often in a hurry, but I can go to the line style on the right, line width. It's right now got a line width. If I select that line, I see my line width is 1 point. I'm going to make that a little thicker for printing purposes. I'll go up to 5 points. You see that that line's thickened and it's gotten rid of any white spaces that would have been there. Now I'm going to select all, Control A, and go to File, Print Preview to see what that might look like when it's printed. And those thickened lines are just for the sake of printing. They won't get in the way when I go to cut. That looks good. So it would print fine. When I go to cut, it will only cut on that original line, not the thickened line. So it looks fine. Now if I would like to use this on another cutter besides my Pazzles view or inspiration, I can select all, and I can go to File, Convert to WPC, and I'll call this Daisy 6 and save it. Now I'm going to go to my Make the Cut software, and we'll go to Import the WPC file, the Daisy 6, open it up, and you see that it brought in the exact traced line plus the image. If I had done SVG, it would not have imported the picture right, but it did import this. So I have the cutting lines on top, and I could go to cut this on any machine that Make the Cut supports. Now what I'd like to do is compare this cut line to one that I would get using Make the Cut. Now I'm going to show you how to do the same process in Make the Cut. We go up here to Pixel Trace, and we get the image just like we did in the other software. Select it, and now in this window we can do the same thing, get rid of all the white specks by despecking it to the max. And we're going to click Texturize Path. That means we'll bring in the image. And then we raise the threshold until we get the kind of fill that we'd like. I think I found it the best at 236. I'll apply the changes. And you see that the entire image is filled in. So I'm going to import it. And now I have this design not only with the picture, but with the cutting lines included. Now I can go to Outline here, and I can compare these cutting lines. Now this was the one that I got from InView. I'll put it down a little lower, and this is the one that I just got from Make the Cut. I'm going to zoom in so we can see the detail. Make the Cut traces here. InView traces here. I would say you can compare the little nuances. We've got a little more smoothing in the Make the Cut. Little few more jagged lines here, not serious, but in the InView. So one of the questions was about using the Inspiration Studio Pro software to create the contours with the contour tool. So I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll compare the cut lines of both. So again, I'm going to go to the File menu and import the same design. My Daisy image. We brought that in. Now in this software it's a little easier to do. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can watch this process. The contour tool is the third tool from the bottom on the left toolbar. When we click that, we get a tool here, and we're going to click outside the image, and it creates the cut lines around it. You notice that they're not real snug, but we can change that by adjusting the smoothing. That gives a smoother line, but not as defined. I prefer it pretty much tight as I can. Tolerance gets pretty jagged if it's too far left. And we can change it so that the lines are closer to the design by making it inline. Or if we wanted to make it big enough to stamp the image, could make an outline. But I'm just going to try to keep it pretty close to the image itself. That's what I would prefer. So try to snug it up a bit. So we got it as smooth as we can without distorting the design too much. So I'm going to add the path. And now we can select all, Control A, and we can save it. Problem is we cannot export as SVG. There's no SVG export in this software. Also, if we save this as a WPC with the image, we get an invalid WPC file. So in order to use this in any other software except for the Pazzles cutters, I have to get rid of the picture, and I have to save this as a WPC file. So I'm just going to call this Daisy6 and save it. It's a WPC file. Oh, it's already in there. We'll make it 7. Now I'm going to go to make the cut. I'm going to bring this in, and again, I'll just use the WPC import Daisy7, open, better copy it, and paste it to the one I was using here. Control-Shift-V, paste it in. Now I'm going to compare this. This one is from Inspiration, this one's from View, and this is from Make the Cut. And we'll bring this in close so you can see the difference in those lines. On the left here, we have the Make the Cut. We have on the right, Make the Cut. On the left, In View. And then from Inspiration Studio, we have this one. Notice all the jagged lines. It's going to slow your cutter down. It's not going to cut so smoothly. It's going to cut exactly where those lines are, and you see how ragged those lines are. So not the ideal as is. Any of these can be edited, of course, in the corresponding software, but that's a lot of editing to do in the Inspiration Studio software. In Make the Cut, it would be a little easier, and the In View is obviously cleaner than this one, and we can fix that in the In View software where there are bumps and things, but I much prefer the Make the Cut trace, and I thought you might like to see the differences in these. In Make the Cut, to get rid of all the jagged lines, I would select it with the gold lock icon. I'm going to change the width 25% and go to the wrench tool on the bottom, Auto Simplify Path, and it reduces that node count by 93%. Now I'm going to take the size back 25% R to reverse that, shrink, oops, I didn't do it right, 25% R, takes it back where it was, but now you notice how nice and smooth those lines are. Zoom in a little bit. So that got rid of a lot of jaggies all at once, so that now it's even comparable to the Make the Cut trace. So I hope that you found this helpful. I do want to show you that if I have this design, you take it back to where the Make the Cut trace one. If I export this as an SVG, say export selection to SVG, and we'll just call this Daisy 8 as an SVG. Then I want to bring that into InView to cut on the Pazzles cutter. I can open a new page, and we'll go to Import SVG and find that Daisy 8. And you'll see why I like to create my file and make the cut and bring it in here, because the image is connected with the cut lines and ready to go. Again, I can select the entire design, can change the thickness and the color of those lines. And I can do print cut. So I hope you have found this helpful, and use whichever software goes best with your cutter, and use the cut lines created the way you want them to be. It's nice to have choices. Thank you for watching. Bye.